Let's talk briefly about a commonly used animation trick, keyframe jumping. This is a term I use to describe taking a previous keyframe and applying it elsewhere in your animation, which can reduce the amount of work required for many types of actions by half or more. To do large volumes of animation in a very short amount of time, especially with 3D software, absolutely requires you to know how to apply the work that you've already done towards the content that you are currently working on. There's no benefit to be had in doing the same or similar actions over and over again. While I'm mainly going to be working with Lightwave in this demonstration video, know that this and many other keyframe animation concepts can also be applied to any software, whether you prefer to use Flash or Blender, a video editing program, hell, even music production tools. Here are just some examples of practical, highly useful applications for utilizing keyframe jumping. In Deluer episode 5.2, this Lugarian presses a button and then continues looking at the screen. All I did was animate half of this action, then pasted the beginning frame of the animation to the end. Easy. Need to make a character dance? Well, just pose the character twice. Then we can just paste the keyframes repeatedly starting at frame 0. In this case, I'm holding the shift button while pressing the right arrow key and right-clicking on the timeline in IK Booster mode to add motion to this figure. The resulting looping animation here can look plain and too machine-like, but it's very easy to just jump through the keyframes and quickly nudge things around to trick the average viewer into believing that this animation was actually fully hand-keyed. You can also use keyframe jumping to assist in posing your character very quickly. I like the ability to save and load poses, but sometimes it's easier and faster to just transpose keyframes. Let's take a look at my animated short, Enthusiasm Does Not Compute, and observe the various places where I used this technique. All motion elements required only 3 days to complete, partially thanks to the keyframe jump concept. Frame 17. I pose the hand pointing. I later keyframed this hand articulation at frames 820 and 1684. In this part, Desjard does 3 up and down movements, but I only had to pose him once from his initial stance. Everything else was just transposed and then given minor edits. Here, Desjard makes a gesture towards the monitor. I only animated half of this. Notice the similarity in frames 1770 and 1780. Let's look at frame 2000. Again, this action was keyframe jumped, then edited to make it look hand-keyed. Note that you can apply the same transposition of keyframes concept to entire animations as well. Aiden's animation with the cell phone, for instance, at frame 1142, was entirely copied from frame 200 through 300, and then edited to correspond with the dialogue. To summarize, you can achieve extremely fast, abundant movement for many situations in a fraction of the time without sacrificing quality if you know when and where to use keyframe jumping. The trick is to get this into your workflow to the point to where you can do this automatically without actually having to think about it. That's when you will really notice the difference. Yes, knowing as many shortcuts and tricks as possible can help you spend less time animating and more time enjoying interior fluorescent light radiation.